And this
is your station.
Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM. Looking for the best in news updates?
Yeah, man.
Listen to Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Now listen. News on the hour. 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and 11 a.m. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. News at noon, 12 noon. News from across the states, 4 p.m. And our major news at 6 p.m. Citizen FM 93.7. Always precise in news broadcast.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja.
Hello and welcome to the Citizen FM News at 6. I am Lawrence Omoiti. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Ola Olukayede as chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Presidential spokesman Ajuri Ngelale announced this in a statement earlier today. Ngelale explained that Olukayede's appointment is for a renewable term of 4 years in the first instance, pending Senate's confirmation. The leadership of the country's focal anti-graft agency has experienced shake-up in the last few months since the assumption of President on May 29, 2023. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has stated that the growing climate problem highlights the urgency of action that not only government but also corporations, civil society organizations, and every individual must take. While systemic reforms pushed by government and powerful companies are necessary for effective mitigation, Abbas pointed out that individuals have a variety of benefits for resolving the climate catastrophe. Troops of the Nigerian Army have killed no fewer than 50 terrorists on various ongoing military operations across the country. Also arrested were 114 suspected insurgents. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said on Thursday while briefing journalists at the Defense Headquarters. He explained that within the week, 19 suspected oil thieves were nabbed, while 49 kidnapped victims were also rescued by the troops. Chairman of the Body of Benchers and retired Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Mary Peter Odili, has challenged the young lawyers to always seek the counsel of experienced senior colleagues whenever they are faced with any challenge or difficulty. Justice Odili pleaded with them to uphold the rules of professional conduct for legal practitioners at all times, adding that the Body of Benchers has power to admit lawyers, and equally, the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee has powers to derobe any lawyer found wanting on ethical standards. Justice Odili, who was speaking at the inauguration of new lawyers in the country, cautioned them against the negative use of social media, as it could bring them and the legal profession into disrepute. A senior advocate of Nigeria and former Attorney General of Osun State, Adegboyega Awomolo, also enjoined the new lawyers to be painstaking and industrious in their profession.
Is mentorship, because we have seen that over the years that a lot of the junior lawyers really do not know their way about the profession, how to navigate the various complicated avenues.
Most of those who are being called to bar are very young, and therefore they are promised of the future of this country. My advice to them is be patient, be diligent, and be professional.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities has kicked against the decision of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund to include private universities as beneficiaries of its intervention program. ASU President Professor Emmanuel Osodeke made this known at a 2-day interactive session between TEDFund and all unions of beneficiary institutions in Abuja. Professor Osodeke said that the move to include private universities in the fund's project would lead to the proliferation of private universities devoid of quality, while urging TEDFund to work more on its project monitoring method, adding that the level of performance by beneficiary institutions are not in tandem, as some of them receive the same amount of money.
I've come two sides. But when you get to Nigeria that our problem is side, I can assure you, if I go around the university today, if there was no TEDFund, we don't have university today. I want to go on strike until you have a government that wants to do the correct thing. Because in this country, there is only like strike.
In his address, the Executive Secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Sonny Ochano, who disclosed that the interactive session was conceived as a proactive engagement against the backdrop of the prevailing challenges in the subsector, emphasized that the engagement was also for the purpose of sustaining steady growth and development of tertiary education.
The application of facilities in the tertiary institution sector persisted as funds are only very thinly spread across these multiple intervention areas. Consequently, in 2011, the law establishing the fund was amended by the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act No. 16, which will refocus the intervention scope of the fund to only public universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. So in this background, you see why every day we receive requests from other institutions, research institutes, colleges of agriculture, colleges of cooperatives, and all sorts of other agencies wanting to be enlisted. And given this history, we believe that we've already crossed that bridge. Again, when we decide, when we mention public institutions, we're talking about those owned by the federal government.
The federal government has commended the World Bank-assisted Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment project for its efforts in boosting girl-child education in Nigeria. The Minister of State for Education, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, gave the commendation while declaring open the 2023 International Day of the Girl Child, organized by the Federal Ministry of Education in Abuja. The minister expressed the need to ensure that the girl child is empowered with relevant skills and the ability to take part in decision-making, and commended the achievement of a GEL project with over 3 million beneficiaries across 7 states in Nigeria. Remarks, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Andrew David Adejo, further stressed the need for the government to evolve stern measures to protect the right of the girl child.
To expand funding for education and ensure that this money is spent well and is spent in full. Secondly, focus on foundational learning and the crucial role played by teachers. It's great to see teachers really mobilizing students to this event. Improving the recruitment, training, and effective deployment of teachers holds huge potential for increasing learning outcomes. Thirdly, ensuring learning environments are safe and protected. This is particularly important for ensuring girls can come to school and feel safe and learn while they are there.
While reiterating the British government's commitment to partner Nigeria in pushing for the rights of girls and canvassing for the recruitment of more women as teachers, principals and mentors to ensure the right of girl child and other development partners, they urge the federal government to increase funding for education and ensure that money allocated to the sector were judiciously utilized.
as teachers, as principals, as mentors. And I don't have the exact numbers for Nigeria, but I can tell you that in every country that we have looked at, when you have women who are teachers, and especially principals, this has a positive effect on boys and girls learning, remaining in school, and they serve as wonderful role models for girls in secondary school. The last thing I wanted to mention very quickly is that gender in Africa are two of the topmost priorities for UNESCO and also for us at UNESCO IGBA. So we are very happy to be here with you.
IGBA recognizes the importance of human capital, particularly through investing on girl-child education. And this is reflected in the investment of over $1 million to keep girls in school to finish up to secondary school level so that any girl in school has the minimum qualification of secondary education certificate.
Meanwhile, girl-child advocates have called on governments at all levels to prioritize commitment to protecting the right of girls across all fronts in Nigeria in order to help maximize their immediate and long-term potentials. They also called for improved and sustained investment in the girl child while upholding full and unhindered gender equality and girl empowerment.
In different forms, the investment in the basic social services where the girls can have access to education, access to quality education as well. It's not only going to the school, but having the quality education, access to all the services related to health and nutrition.
Like I said, not to leave any profession out. We need women in the political space. We need women in the diplomatic space. We need women in all. So don't just think about becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. Think about all these other spaces where we don't have a lot of women. And so my, charge to the girl child today is to take care of themselves, to be courageous.
Still in the spirit of the International Day for the Girl Child, some girls also bear their minds on their expectations and fears.
Every time I want to go out, I can't go out in the evening because I'm scared or I'm walking around, people call me. It's very frightening. I'm from the north, that's Maiduguri. What we face there, most especially is insecurity. We don't have proper security, so girls don't usually go to school there. Or if they do, you don't have the basic, they don't have facilities there. I think government should keep pressing because the more they disturb them, the more they'll feel like there's no need to keep the girls captive.
And on the foreign scene, the United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo says it has suspended some of its peacekeepers in response to report of serious misconduct. It said it had a policy of zero tolerance for sexual exploitation and abuse. South Africa is ready to mediate in the conflicts between Israel and the Palestinian territories, says President Cyril Ramaphosa. He's calling for an immediate ceasefire and says his country can draw on its experience of conflict resolution in Africa and beyond. Mr. Ramaphosa added that in a statement that the South African authorities have condemned atrocities against civilians there. And in sports, the International Olympic Committee Executive Board has suspended the Russian Olympic Committee with immediate effect until further notice. The move comes after the ROC recognized regional organizations from 4 Ukrainian territories illegally annexed by Russia since its full-scale invasion began in 2022. The IOC said that last Thursday's recognition was a breach of the Olympic Charter because it violates the territorial integrity of the National Olympic Committee of Ukraine. And that's the Citizen FM News at 6. I'm Lawrence Almighty. Good evening.